Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter Podcast. Today, we are going over Major League Baseball. We're through a month and a little more. I meant to do this earlier. I never got to it. So, we're doing this on May 6th. I meant to do it actually yesterday, but I should have done even before that. So the plan to do what I'm gonna do with the MLB because obviously there's 162 games. I don't feel like doing videos every single week for this. So I'm gonna just do a monthly review, which honestly is probably fine. You don't need to know what's going on every single month. So yeah, that's the plan for this one. Some updates on videos coming up at the end of the video, so do stay tuned for that. But let's get into the National League and how is everyone doing? Start the first month of the year, or kind of first like month and a few, because there's a few games in March, but it was like five. Uh, but let's start with the New York Mets, which wow, what a start. 23 and 13, been dynamite pitching. Hitting has also been very stellar thus far. Um, you kind of, and this is definitely what the Mets were hoping for. I don't know if they were necessarily thinking it would be this good to start, but this is certainly what the Mets wanted. I mean, if you're a New York Mets, you just signed Juan Soto to a stupidly large contract, and you just brought back Pete Alonso. So you're hoping to be able to really keep it going and, build off of the little run you made last year, even though you got plastered by the Dodgers. But hey, you made a run to the NLCS and you knocked off some teams along the way and you look pretty good doing it. So if I'm the Mets, yeah, you build off of that season. Of course, you steal Juan Soto from your crosstown rivals, the Yankees. You ring him in. I know he hasn't been great to start the year necessarily, but 23 and 13, you can't argue that. So great for the Mets. Um, there's a lot of money that's been thrown around at guys like Verlander and Scherzer and all these different dudes. And now it seems they finally have the formula, but a lot of wasted money to get there. But still a good team for the Mets. 23 and 13 is definitely a start you were hoping for if you're New York. Now we have the Philadelphia Phillies, 19 and 15. This is a good team. I mean, this is a simple way of putting it. They're off to a, middling start. Certainly not amazing, but also pretty good. So if I'm the Phillies, yeah, I would maybe want a little bit more. I mean, you're obviously 3 games out of first, and the Mets are doing really well, but hey, you're not far away. It's early in the year. You're above 500. You're doing okay. You got to be happy with it thus far. So, if I'm the Phillies, I'm mostly content with what I've seen thus far. Then there's the Braves. Um, Yikes. 16 and 18 now. This team was brutal to start the season, and they have really tried to flip things around here. They're a little below 500, but man, I mean, we were looking at a team that started the year 0 and 7. 0 and 7, guys. 0 and 7, guys. Um, now they're 16, 11 are down the stretch. Um, lot better for the Braves. But this has definitely been a rough start for the Braves. Chris Sale, which was a big part of what they did last year and was the Cy Young Award winner and also pretty much, comeback player of the year as he came out of nowhere, has not been as good to start this year. A little bit of a rough start for the Braves. Obviously, they're still hope what we're waiting. What the heck? They're still waiting for the return of Ronald Acuna. Still, torn ACL last year yet again. So still waiting on him to come back. That will be a huge addition once he returns. There's some other guys I know who are also, I think, hurt. I think Spencer Strider's still hurt, so they're missing him as well. So some guys that need to come back from injury for the Braves, but you know, considering you're 0-7 to start the year and now you're 16 and 18 and you're actually almost near 500, I would consider that a success if I'm a Braves fan. Washington Nationals, 16-19. Not much to really say for this team. They're kind of in a rebuild mode. They're trying to maybe make their way out of it. But 16-19, not a bad start. You gotta be happy with it so far. I mean, you're not doing absolutely miserable. And, if you're the Nationals, you gotta say, hey, this is not, we're not expecting to be winning anything anytime soon with this team. So to say that we're 16-19 and 6.5 out first, just a little behind, a little below 500, yeah, I'd be content with that. If I'm a Nationals fan, nothing to complain about here. And then the Marlins, there's not really much for me to say about this one either. This is not a good team. They're rebuilding, 13-21. Pitching staff has been atrocious for them. Obviously everyone's got their eyes on Sandy Alcantara, whatever it is, probably Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara, will the Marlins trade him? I'm sure they will because they really don't have a reason to keep him. Uh, this is not a good team, though. I mean, they're obviously in rebuild mode. It's not really much of a secret. So not looking great for Miami, but maybe things can turn around here soon for the Marlins. Chicago Cubs. Wow. I yeah. Um okay then. 22-14. I really did not expect this from the Cubs. I know that they obviously they made some moves in the off season. And, I figured, yeah, it'd be a bit better, but holy moly. Pitching staff has been pretty solid, but their offense, oh my. Only team, I'm pretty sure, actually, in all of Major League Baseball thus far to have over 200 runs scored already for the season, and they're at 217. I'm pretty sure the next closest might actually be the Dodgers down there. Um, it is the I think it's the Yankees actually. Yeah, the next closest team to the Cubs in terms of runs scored is the New York Yankees at 190. So the Cubs are flaming hot at the plate right now. And like I said, pitching staff has, for the most part, held up. It's been solid. I mean, they made moves in the off season to get some good guys in and make them and look pretty darn good. And thus far, wow, what a start! If I'm a Cubs fan, I am going crazy because holy moly, this is good. And I think this is what Cubs fans have really just wanted forever. But it looks like the Cubs are finally getting somewhere, and if you're a Cubs fan, you gotta be pretty ecstatic. Then you got the Milwaukee Brewers seeing that dead at 500, 18 and all, or 18. Um, this is a solid team. This is a young team, honestly. I know, I don't know if they're still dealing with a crazy amount of injuries, but I know their pitching staff was down pretty bad when they played us. As like they had like 8 starting pitchers on the IL or something ridiculous. So I don't know where their pitching staff is at in terms of health. I don't know if they got some guys back or if they didn't, or if they're got some and they didn't get everybody. But they were missing a lot of guys due to injury, and it was a little. It was a little rough when they're missing so many people. They got Houston right now at home. They're in the middle of that series. But overall, this is not a awful Milwaukee team. They've got very good young players. So really, it doesn't matter of the young guys growing or staying healthy. So this is not a bad team. You're at 18 up is not a horrible place to be. Uh, you know, doesn't maybe not amazing, but also not terrible. Reds, similar situation, all same exact record. Um, this is a team that also a lot of young guys, a lot of developing that needs to be done. If you're the Reds, you gotta be pretty happy with this spot. I mean, you're looking to kind of exit what has been a longer rebuild And you got some, young exciting guys like Ellie De La Cruz. Of course, everybody loves that guy. And you got a lot of other younger guys like Hunter Green, amongst others, all of which are pretty good. So if I'm the Reds, again, same thing as the Brewers. I'm kind of flying through this because I don't really have that much to say about these teams. If I'm the Reds, I'm pretty content with the start to the year. St. Louis Cardinals, 17 and 19, didn't really expect them to be that good thus far. Apparently they're awful on the road. Wow. This is a team that doesn't really have much going for it. Uh, I would think they'd kind of start trending towards a rebuild now. They have a couple guys that maybe they could get some trade value out of. Obviously, Nolan Arenado being the biggest one. Um, but really, this team doesn't really have that many great players. I think they might have a couple young guys, but not much to write home about for St. Louis. They are 17 and 19. They'll be playing the Tigers here, I think, pretty soon. Um, like I said, just not really that special of a squad. Uh, not really that special of a record either. Probably a little bit higher than than I would have expected, but not much to say. Pittsburgh Pirates at 12 and 24. That is not one I honestly would have figured at this point. The offense has been anemic for the Pirates so far. And of course, they still have Paul Skeens, and I mean, he has mostly been himself. But really, the rest of the team around him has not done much. They, of course, brought back Andrew McCutchen, who has been okay. But really, the rest of the team around him, or really the rest of the offense, really has not delivered that much. A lot of the guys really have just kind of struggled. They really have just not hit. They're also dealing with some injuries. Of course, everybody does. But just not that impressive of a start for the Pirates. I think people probably were thinking a little bit more from Pittsburgh, but so far, not much to show for. So we'll see. Maybe something changes. Obviously, the that offense, the runs scored there is a pretty glaring number. So that obviously will have to we'll have to change if they want to win some games. But so far for the Pirates, not I'm sure what they were hoping for. And then you got what almost always seems to be the absolutely disgusting NL West -1 team. We'll get to them. Let's just start with does the most disgusting team in baseball, the LA Dodgers. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, they don't have the best record in the in the majors. Maybe or no, they do. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, they do. Best record in all Major League Baseball. This is the best team in all the league. It's not. I don't even know if it's necessarily that close. I think the San Diego Padres might be maybe a few steps behind, but the Dodgers are just they're too good. This is an absolutely nasty team, and it has been absolutely absurd what they've been able to do. Uh, it's the Dodgers. I mean, you got guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani and Max Muncy and Tyler Glasnow and you name it, they've got it. So there's just not really a way to beat this team. I mean, 11 times people haven't been able to do it, but they are a very, very tough out. And they are still far and away my favorite to win the World Series, which I am not really that enthusiastic about. Some of you may know I'm not the biggest Dodger fan. Not necessarily because I have anything against the players on the Dodgers. I just don't really care for the team because basically they make it impossible for anybody to ever pay for anyone. Because why go to anybody else who's trying to, bring you in to make their team better when you can just go to LA and get, $800 million when nobody else can pay that? To me, that's just kind of unfair because, not everybody else is going to really be able to pay you that kind of money. but the Dodgers can because their owner doesn't care. And to me, it gets really aggravating. Like literally, when they just take every single player, it gets very tiring. But that's kind of how it works right now. So you just gotta figure it out. But the Dodgers, yeah, they're the favorites to win it all. San Diego Padres, however, are trying to make a run at it, and I've always very much been on the San Diego side of the rivalry here. Even San Francisco too, but really the Padres. 23-11, really good stretch here. Offense hasn't been necessarily incredible, but holy moly, has their pitching staff been unreal. They have shut down basically everyone they've played. Now the Tigers got to them a little bit, but the Padres have just been unstoppable essentially when it comes to pitching. No one can really hit these guys. I mean, they're the only team right now who hasn't given up triple digits in terms of runs for the year. Now, obviously, I'll probably change here in a minute. I mean, they're at 98, but their pitching staff continues to deliver. And, yeah, sure, the offense isn't necessarily doing anything crazy, but they're they're doing themselves well. They're rattling off wins. Game only a half game behind the Dodgers, who have the best record, of course, in the league. Gotta be pretty excited if you're the Padres. Looking like it's gonna be another great great bunch of games between the Dodgers and the Padres, and we might have to talk about this one too pretty soon. The San Francisco Giants. Where did this team come from? 22-14. They did make a bigger signing, bringing Willy Adames in. They also brought in Justin Verlander, but really those two have not been the big reason for the success of the Giants. They've just spent everybody else who's really done themselves well. I mean, 20, like I said, 22-14, only 2.5 games out first. Um, Great start for a Giant team that probably did not expect to really be anywhere close to the top two teams, and yet here they are, and they're ahead of a team that probably thought they'd be better than them, and they're not. So if you're the Giants, you gotta be pretty happy with what you've seen thus far. And yeah, I don't know where this came from. I don't know if it'll continue, but if I'm a Giants fan, I'm pretty excited because holy crap, we're actually doing really, really well. And then next we have the Arizona Diamondbacks. I almost said Cardinals. This isn't football. Arizona Diamondbacks. Almost did again. Arizona Diamondbacks, 18-17. Um, this team has had issues with the pitching. And this is a team that signed Corbin Burns. So you'd kind of be surprised to hear that because when you sign a guy like Corbin Burns, who was a borderline Cy Young Award candidate a year ago, you would think, oh, yeah, they're probably good with pitching. But really, it's not been the case. The Diamondbacks have not been sharp in terms of pitching. Zach Gallen has been very rough to start the season. Burns has reeled it in a little bit, but he's also now injured. Merrill Kelly has not been amazing. I mean, just over 4 isn't terrible. Eduardo Rodriguez has also not at all worked out for him. And their young guy at the end has been okay. But a lot of issues in terms of pitching and just guys who have not been really doing what the Diamondbacks were hoping for in terms of the pitching staff. The offense, though, has certainly been delivering. Corbin Carroll, who had a rough year last year, has certainly bounced back and has kind of looked like he did 2 years ago, which is when they made the run to the World Series. So, if you're Arizona, you got, yeah, not maybe what you were hoping for. You probably hoped for a little bit of a better record at this point, and you didn't expect to probably be 3.5 games behind San Francisco. But you know what? You're 18-17. You're still got a solid record. It's still very early in the year. Long ways to go, and you know what? You're in a tough division, so just keep working at it and see what the future holds. And now, last and very much the least, not really another way of putting that, is the Colorado Rockies. I am flabbergasted by this one. Now, I know this is a bad team. I know this team is not good, and and now the Tigers get to play them, so we had better sweep them. um, I know this is a bad team, but I don't know if they're this bad. I mean, 6 wins all year is pretty deplorable. You know, and that's even considering the fact they have a very gimmicky field because they play pretty much up in the mountains. They have all that thin air, and you still got only 6 wins. That to me is just shocking. If you were telling me who's going to be the worst team in baseball thus far, I would have told you it was probably the White Sox. Now, yeah, they're not that far off, but wow, I really did not think Colorado would be this bad. Again, I didn't think they'd be good, but 6-28 is pretty disgusting. So we'll see if something changes, but considering their division here, they're in a rough spot. So I mean, it's definitely a rebuild in Colorado, but I don't think Rocky fans were thinking, oh, yeah, it'll be this bad. It's gotten to the point where if you go and look at tickets actually on Coors Field, I actually did this because they're playing the Tigers this week. I was just curious. You can get tickets to Tiger Rocky games for $5 right now. That's how bad it is in Denver. They might as well just pay more attention to the Denver Nuggets because yikes, it's not even worth watching the Rockies right now. And that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said, I'd be giving some updates on some other things to end this one. So we are a football channel. We are a very heavy football channel. Obviously, we love our football here. NFL draft came and gone. I meant to do a like draft grade video of like the draft classes. Never did get to that. I'll maybe do that next week. We'll have to see. Just kind of debating whether or not I'll still do that. I probably will, but it'll be probably next week. Um, and there is what is it? There, why am I blinking out here? Then we'll be doing off-season review videos for all the NFL teams. So starting probably some point next month, probably early next month, or even at the end of this month, we'll have to see just how the time will work out. We'll be reviewing every single team, and hopefully we'll be getting that in all before the preseason games start for the NFL. We'll be going over really every team, just really what we think are the reasonable expectations for them. Maybe we'll find some of those. We always would find those over unders, and we'd go based off of that. Like, do we think it'll be over? Do we think it'll be under? Basically, predictions for the year. So that is what we'll be doing there soon. Of course, the the MLB, we'll be continuing these videos up. Probably done for NBA videos for the year. Did our playoff video already, so wouldn't expect those anytime soon. But it is getting close to where we're going to be doing a lot of football stuff again. So do expect things to ramp up on here very soon. So that's all I got for this one. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, adios, everyone.